Hey, today we're going to be talking about arrays. More specifically, what is an array? So I'm not going to be going over too many of the nitty-gritty details, but this is more of a broad overview of an array. If you're looking for syntax, watch the next video. So in Java, if you want to make a piece of data, let's say we're making an integer. Let's say int age, of course. Int age equals 10. We got someone that's 10 years old, right? Now, what if we have two people? Well, we could say int age of person 1 and int age of person 2, right? And that kind of works. Now we got this person's 40. You know, it's not too bad. What if we have 200 people, right? And this is a pain. This is bad, right? We have too many variables. Our code isn't modular. We have to change every single thing manually. It's just a pain. So that's where arrays come in. Arrays allow us to group like data together and allows us to access them very easily. So instead of making 200 ages, all I have to say is I'm making an array of integers, and it's going to make me a whole bunch of integers. Ages equals new int array, and I'm going to make 400 of them. I'll get more into how this all works in a second, but instead of making 400 different ones, I just say make me 400 ints, and it makes me 400, and they're all saved in this one ages variable. So how does ages work, right? Or how do arrays work in general? So normally you have, for a variable, you have a little bucket, right? And you have age, let's say age 1, right? And you have 10 in there. This is your variable. Age 10, or age 1 is 10. Age 2 is, let's say age 2 is 110. And these are two separate things. When you make an array, however, an array is a collection of data types. So for our case, it would be a collection of integers. So ages is going to be this big chunk of all of these different numbers, right? So we might have 10, then 20, then 73, then 9, then 2, then 4, 0, somebody was just born. And we just have one variable that holds all of these different items. And this makes it very convenient because we might have multiple arrays for multiple different things, right? We can have an array of all of our ages for all of our people. We might have an array of names, an array of strings, right? Names, right? And you can put any data type in an array. The thing is, they all have to be the same. So I'm not gonna change these just for time's sake, but and then you can have more and more and more, and you can have a whole bunch of them, right? You could have a whole bunch of arrays. And the cool thing that you can do is you could say, okay, everything real quick, before I talk about this, I'm gonna move these down here. Before I talk about this, when we're looking at arrays, there's this idea of indexing. And indexing is pulling a number or whatever data type is stored in there, pulling that out, that piece of data, that value, pulling that value out. Arrays start at 0 and they go up from there. 3, 4, 5, 6. So how many things are in this array? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 things, but the highest number of index is 6, and that's because we start at 0. So if I want to get the third thing out of ages, that would be this one right here. This would be 9. I would get 9 out of it. I go to index 3, and I get 9 out of it. If I want to get the number 73, well, that's an index 2, right? So zooming back out, what we could do is with all of these other ones, right, we could say everything stored at the 0th index of all of our arrays talk about the same person. So index 0 is some person. They have their age, they have their name, they have their something else, right? This is way better than making 10 million different variables. Also, real quick, actually, am I talking about that later? Yes, okay. So when you make an array, that array is put into some variable. So your variable, for us it was age, or ages, ages. The entire array gets put into ages, right? Not the 0th index, not the first index, not the last index. All of them get put into ages. Okay? The whole thing goes into the variable. Hopefully that makes sense. As I get into the syntax, it might make a little more sense, and we can see how it's used. But that's just a quick overview of arrays. Remember, they start at index 0. They have a size. They go up and they stop one before the biggest size. So if you have 7 things total, it goes from 0 to 6. All right. Hopefully that makes sense, and I'll show you how to use them in the next video.